There are cities and moments of explosive creativity in the history of art. The Paris avant-garde or the pop artists of New York, for example. Rome in the early 1600s was home to another of those outbursts of originality.
We know from the documents that between 1600 and 1630, almost, or probably even more than 2,000 artists were living in Rome, and most of them lived in this whole area, this kind of triangle starting at Piazza del Popolo. And sometimes they even shared rooms. Of course, they went to the same taverns.
By 1596, the young Milanese painter Michelangelo Merisi Caravaggio was already established in Rome, with a brilliant talent and a revolutionary spirit. Without preliminary drawings, he painted directly from life, people from the neighbourhood and local taverns, immortalised, if not always sanctified. Caravaggio was a painter and a violent man, fascinated by the moment, able to capture with a precocious photographic talent the exact second when a lizard bites the hand of his model, causing him to wince, an artistic first. Violence, one of the characteristics of Baroque painting, abounds in scenes of tension, when the angel of the Lord stops Abraham's arm a split second before it reaches the neck of his son Isaac, or when blood spurts from Holofernes' neck to the disgust of his executioner Judith. Among the thousands of young men who came to Rome in those prodigious decades and admired Caravaggio, many were French and Dutch.
These northerners, they too came to Rome at the age of around 20, like Caravaggio. They too were ambitious, they too were innovators, they too were driven by great passion to become famous and original painters themselves. I try to show with this exhibition that there's not just one Caravaggio. He served up to the new generations many novelties. He changes his style, he reinvents himself every year, every 6 months. So he had so much to offer to the new generations. So it's a very interesting dialogue between the many things Caravaggio had to offer and the many new ambitions they tried to realize.
In Rome, there were so many painters because there was also an extraordinary demand for art, both civil and religious.
Nicolas Régnier, a French, Franco-Flemish painter who came to Rome, and, which is even more important, Vincenzo Giustiniani, one of the great collectors in Rome. He is actually a kind of key figure. He owned 15 paintings by Caravaggio, but he supported a whole generation of artists coming from the north. So it's a perfect link between the section on Caravaggio and the next section showing some of the great masterpieces by the painters he loved most.
Thanks to this artistic coexistence, the genius of Caravaggio had a decisive influence on painters like Rembrandt, Rubens, Vermeer and Velázquez. The exhibition, Caravaggio and the Painters of the North, brings together 12 original works by the master and 40 more by Ter Boegen, Nicolas Régnier and von Honthorst, and other Dutch, French and Italian painters who lived through the violent years of the birth of Baroque, indeed the same decades as Shakespeare and Cervantes. Today we see them as classical paintings, but exhibitions like this at the Thyssen Museum allow us to travel back in time to understand just how much life, struggle and drama is contained in the history of art. This is Caravaggio's last painting. The arrow, blurred by speed, enters the chest of St. Ursula, who confronts her martyrdom and her end. Behind, Caravaggio himself looks on, with a mixture of fascination and horror. From the 21st of June to the 18th of September, travel with the Thyssen Museum back 400 years to the Rome of Caravaggio and the Painters of the North.